Have you ever secretly believed that if people really saw you clearly, they would notice the flaw? Not the strengths you show, not the version of yourself you present, but the crack, the hesitation, the insecurity, the thing you try to hide. Maybe it's how long things are taking in your life. Maybe it's how sensitive you are. Maybe it's the fact that you don't feel as confident or as certain as everyone else seems to be. And you've tried to fix it. You've tried to seal it. You've tried to become more like the perfect version you see in others. But what if the very thing you're trying to repair is the reason something beautiful is growing around you? Stay with me, because this story might change the way you see yourself. There was once a water bearer who carried 2 clay pots suspended from a wooden pole across his shoulders. Every morning before sunrise, he walked the same narrow path from the river back to his home. The journey was long, the road uneven, the air still cool from the night. One pot was perfect, smooth, solid, unmarked. It held every drop of water from river to door. The other pot had a long crack running down one side. It wasn't shattered, it wasn't useless. But by the time they reached home each day, half its water had slipped away. For 2 years, this never changed. The perfect pot delivered completely. The cracked pot did not. And slowly, the cracked pot began to notice. At first, the cracked pot told itself it was still helpful. I still carry something, it thought. I am not empty. But comparison has a way of growing louder over time. Each morning, the perfect pot arrived full, silent, impressive, reliable. The cracked pot arrived lighter, drained, exposed, and though no one spoke of it, the difference was obvious. Drip, drip, drip. Each drop that fell along the road felt like evidence. You are less. You are incomplete. You are a burden. Have you ever felt that? Like something about you leaks confidence. Like no matter how hard you try, you arrive feeling half of what you should be. Over time, the cracked pot began to dread the journey. Not because of the distance, but because of the proof. The cracked pot began replaying its flaw in its mind. If only I were stronger. If only I were solid. If only I were like the other one. It imagined how much easier the water bearer's life would be without it. It imagined being replaced. It imagined being discarded quietly by the river. And perhaps the most painful part was that the water bearer never complained. He never scolded. He never blamed, which somehow made the shame worse, because the cracked pot believed he deserves better than me. How often do we think that about ourselves? How often do we quietly assume we are disappointing someone, even when they've never said so? For 2 years, the cracked pot carried not just water, but guilt. One morning, the cracked pot could not bear it any longer. "I am sorry," it whispered. The water bearer stopped walking. "Sorry?" he asked gently. "Yes," the pot said. "For 2 years you have carried me faithfully, and I have failed you. You work hard, and I deliver half. I am flawed. I am broken. I am not like the other." There was a long silence, the kind that stretches, the kind where your mind expects correction. But the water bearer did not correct it. He smiled and said quietly, "Tomorrow, pay attention." The next morning, as they walked the familiar road, the cracked pot did something different. It watched. Not the perfect pot, not the water bearer, the path. The sunlight rose slowly over the hills. Birds stirred in the trees. The river shimmered behind them. And then the cracked pot noticed something it had never truly seen. Along one side of the road, flowers were blooming. Small at first, then clusters, then long stretches of color. Yellow, purple, white, wild and alive, but only on one side, its side. The water-bearer knelt beside the flowers. "I have always known about your crack," he said. "I planted seeds along your side of the path. Every day, as we walked, you watered them." The cracked pot went still. "For 2 years," he continued, "you thought you were losing water. But you were growing a garden. The perfect pot delivers water. You deliver life." And suddenly, the crack no longer felt like failure. It felt intentional. Now pause, because this is where the story stops being about pots. What if the thing you wish you could remove from yourself is quietly shaping who you are meant to become? Your sensitivity, your slower timeline, your overthinking, your doubt, your emotional depth. Maybe your empathy exists because you struggled. Maybe your patience exists because you waited. Maybe your insight exists because you questioned everything. We spend years trying to seal the crack, to hide it, to harden it, to pretend it isn't there. But what if the crack is the reason your life has color? What if your so-called flaw is your contribution? The cracked pot spent 2 years believing it was a disappointment, 2 years misunderstanding its own impact. How many years have you done the same? You are not perfect. You were never meant to be. Perfection carries water. Flaws grow gardens. And maybe, just maybe, the part of you that feels broken is the part that makes you irreplaceable. So before you try to seal the crack again, look at the path behind you. You might be surprised at what's blooming.